Hi, my name is Hannah, and today I am going to be sharing my informational speech with you. My topic was fake news and misinformation on the internet and how that affects the real world, as well as how to find credible sources for a professional aspect, as well as offering you some of these examples of fake news. Fake news and misinformation are everywhere, but they're mainly portrayed in the media. This could include data from news sources, social networking sites, and even Google. Today, I intend to give you some pointers on how to find credible sources as well as examples of fake news and misinformation. I have two examples I'm going to share with you that have very real, the outcomes are like super real world outcomes. And I will be starting with the MMR vaccine rumor. If you're not familiar with this rumor, essentially there was a study by Andrew Wakefield that the MMR vaccine was causing autism. This rumor started in 1998 after Andrew Wakefield and his colleagues published a paper in a study with his hypothesis and claims that the MMR vaccine was causing autism. If you don't know what the MMR vaccine is, it's mumps, measles, and rubella. That's the vaccine. Andrew Wakefield had 12 kids with developmental delays, and 8 of these kids had autism. These children had complained of intestinal problems and developed autism within 1 month of receiving the MMR vaccine. Wakefield's paper was flawed. Wakefield was later delicensed by medical authorities for his callous disregard for children. If you were on the internet, you were now seeing that the MMR vaccine was causing autism. The internet was a newer thing in this time frame, so I could assume there was a handful of people who weren't confirming this information, and I could only assume there wasn't a whole lot of information denying these claims and confirming these claims. Another study by Brent Taylor and his colleagues took place in 1999. This team wanted to examine the relationship between the MMR vaccine and the development of autism in a controlled study. This study brought a handful of things to light, but most importantly, symptoms of autism did not show on occur within 2, 4, and 6 months of receiving the MMR vaccine. Continuing with fake news and misinformation, we will be talking about the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. A pizza parlor named Comet Ping Pong was mentioned in a handful of emails by John Podesta, head of Clinton's campaign, in 2016. These emails were leaked, causing Comet Ping Pong to be a target. People were now actively believing this pizza parlor was a site from child trafficking, and the Clintons were behind it. A day before the voting in the presidential election back in 2016, the hashtag Pizzagate appeared. Even after Hillary Clinton lost the election, the pizza parlor was still being targeted and slandered. As the conspiracy grew, more and more people were watching this happen in real time. And many of the surrounding businesses were now involved. On Sunday, December 4th of 2016, a 28-year-old man from North Carolina showed up at Comet Ping Pong with a rifle ready to conduct his own investigation. He would later shoot into the shop in a busy but peaceful shopping district when the shop was filled with families. Luckily, no one was injured and the man was arrested, but this is just a glimpse of how fake news and misinformation affect the real world. You should always take the science into account while reading any news which is published online. Asking yourself a few questions. Is this website widely known? Did this under does this article seem credible? Is it another news outlet reporting the same news? I advise selecting 3 sites that present the same information when seeking reliable sources from papers. If you are hesitant about the information or news you're reading, check another source. In conclusion, fake news and misinformation aren't everywhere. You could incorporate these questions and steps into your day to day life to make sure you are getting the most truthful, credible news. That was my speech. I hope you enjoyed.